Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. In this podcast, we'll talk about promos and why I don't do them. We'll also talk about ads. We're going to talk about Atkins versus keto, and we're going to talk about some milestones. And hopefully, there'll be sort of a segue or theme that kind of connects all of them together. First off, I want to talk about promos and why I don't do them. And probably before that, I should explain the difference, even though probably most of you understand, between ads and promos. Ads are what YouTube puts in front of my videos, or in the case of my longer videos, what I insert into the middle of them. Promos are when a company or product comes to you and they want you to spend some portion of your video talking about them. And I get one or two of these per week that reach out to me via email. I say no, or at least so far, I've said no to all of them. I really get some strange and diverse requests. Believe it or not, one of the companies that approached me wanted me to promo their at-home venereal disease testing kits. True story. I don't know how they feel that this connects to keto, unless they really don't understand what keto crotch is. They offered me a generous amount of money, but it seemed completely not aligned with anything that I'm doing, so told them no. Had another company that sells taco shell holders, and their generous offer to me, if I would do a 2-minute promo in front of one of my videos, would be a wall-mounted spice rack. Tempting, but no. And I've also had Perfect Keto ask if they could do a series of promos with me, one video per month for 3 months, and I told them no. Also, even though I'm an affiliate marketing partner with them, I just said that I felt that it created a conflict of interest, that when I review their products, I have a reputation of being very honest in my reviews, and I just felt that if I were getting paid by Perfect Keto, it creates that conflict of interest for me. So I told them no, I wasn't going to do it. And to their credit, they said they respected that. So, cool. Although we'll see how much longer they decide to keep me as an affiliate marketing partner, since I keep saying no to a lot of their requests. Ultimately, I just don't see myself doing these promos. There's certain channels, and you've probably run into these, where somebody spends the first 2 minutes of a video talking about some product, whether that's a keto product or nutrition, whatever that thing is. And they've become so predictable that you can just skip ahead 2 minutes in their video. And I don't want to be that person. Now, I'm not saying that I'll never do a sponsorship, but if I do one, it's going to be a product that I believe in. It's going to be a product that I spend my own money on, and it's going to be a product that I think is beneficial to you. Probably the only company I can think of right now is Keto Mojo. If they were to come and say, would you sponsor? That's a product I use every day. I use their blood glucose and ketone tester. And it's also why whenever I do one of these podcasts, I link to it down in the description. I just think that as an individual on keto, if you really want to own your health, you need to know what affects your blood sugar and your ketones. But I didn't get paid for any of that. It's a product that I believe in. So probably you're not going to see me doing promos. Which brings me to ads. Several weeks ago, I tried an experiment where I made ads not skippable on a number of my videos. And didn't really see any impact one way or another from that, other than the fact that it just felt wrong to me. When I watch someone else's video, if it's skippable, sometimes I skip it, sometimes I don't. But when I can't skip an ad, it really kind of irritates me. Maybe I'm just a habitual rule breaker and don't like being told what I can and can't do. So I went back through my videos and tried to make sure that I turned off unskippable on any of them. If you are out and watching any of my videos and you find that you can't skip an ad, leave me a comment. That way I can check it out, see why it is that it's not skippable if somehow I missed that one. I want you to be able to skip my ads if you want to skip my ads. Well, they're not my ads, they're YouTube's ads. I have had some people tell me that to help out the channel, they will let skippable ads run. And I appreciate that. You know, they'll say, I'll go get a cup of coffee, or I'll play a round of Candy Crush or something like that. And that's great. I appreciate that. But we are entering political season, and I suspect that we're going to start seeing some political ads showing up in front of my videos. I don't pick those. It's not me, so don't be mad at me if you get a political ad, and don't feel obligated to watch them. I mean, if I see a political ad, I'm hitting skip, so I won't blame you at all if you skip those. Now, in terms of ads, I find that I get three. There's three that I just keep getting. And it doesn't matter if I'm seeing a video on YouTube or a news channel or something like that. I get one of two videos by Perfect Keto. There's the one, is it time to re-up your supply? And then there's another one on the keto coffee, which I'm not a big fan of, just saying, tried it out. I feel like very often I'm biting the hand that feeds me with Perfect Keto. But I get probably between those two ads, that's probably 90% of the ads that I get. And the other 10% is this Rob Lowe Keto versus Atkins ad. I don't know if you've seen this, but this makes sort of the perfect segue into a request that I've gotten, which is talk about Atkins versus keto, since, Steve, you've done Atkins before. But first, this commercial with Rob Lowe. There's a lot that just doesn't make sense to me about this. First off, Rob Lowe. Why? Why Rob Lowe? I mean, maybe he does Atkins, I guess, but he's never been, as far as I know, in a role where you look at him as some sort of medical or health authority. He was, in Wayne's World and I think West Wing, and now he's on Rescue 911. Maybe because he's a firefighter or something in Rescue 911. But it's not like he got fat and then went Atkins and now, he's the perfect spokesperson for Atkins. So that part I don't get. But then this particular ad has Rob Lowe, he's sitting on a chair and he's got his phone and he gets a text message asking him, what's the difference between keto and Atkins? Now, if I had that question, in fact, if I have almost any question, I think I would get on Google and Google, what's the difference between keto and Atkins? I'm not going to pick up my phone and be like, gosh, who could I talk to about this? Oh, wait, Rob Lowe. I've got his number right here. Rob, what's the difference between keto and Atkins? I don't know if this is sort of like the Atkins equivalent of the Corona hotline, but Rob Lowe gets this message. This is his answer. He says, if I were to describe the difference between keto and Atkins, I would say that Atkins is like keto made easy. Yeah, I don't know so much about that answer. So 22 years ago, I did Atkins. Dr. Atkins first wrote the book in 1972, and it was a big success. And then we had the whole anti-fat movement that occurred. Fat makes you fat. And the book kind of fell out of popularity, but then had a resurgence in the late 1990s, which was around the time that I was approaching my 30th birthday. I wanted to lose some weight. That's kind of been a theme of my life, wanting to lose some weight. And I was up probably in the mid 180s. And through Atkins, I got down to 155, which was the lowest I'd weighed since college. And actually the lowest I've weighed up until the time that I beat that. I got under 155 briefly on keto last year. And I've managed to stay in the 155 to 160 range pretty much ever since. Atkins, when I did it back in the late 1990s, it was different than Atkins is today. When I started Atkins, I loved it because it was kind of like thumbing your nose at the standard American diet. And for years, prior to doing Atkins, I had tried doing the whole low-fat, high-carb thing, which just didn't work. So going on to Atkins and eating bacon and eggs and cheeseburgers and bacon cheeseburgers with egg and crustless cheesecake and homemade protein bars, all of this stuff was just great. And then you started craving some of those things, the chips and the tortillas and the bread. And there really wasn't the wide variety of recipes and alternatives that we have today. Now, between chaffles and all the different recipes that are out on YouTube and the internet, we can make some decent facsimiles of bread and tortillas and some of these other things that you crave and would love to have a low-carb version of that we didn't have 20 plus years ago. Atkins was definitely dirty, lazy keto back then. Didn't get real hung up on tracking any sort of macros aside from minimizing carbs, and certainly didn't pay any attention to the quality of things like sweeteners or fats. So I consumed a lot of Hellmann's mayonnaise back in the day. And of course now I wouldn't, because it's got soybean oil and it's a garbage oil. But back then it was definitely dirty keto in terms of some of the fats that I was eating. And Dr. Atkins really didn't make any sort of a distinction between good fat, bad fat, outside of staying away from trans fats. The Atkins diet today is a little bit different than what it was back then. There are some similarities, but because I didn't have Rob Lowe's phone number, I had to Google it. And I see now that Atkins is divided into 3 phases. Back when I did it, it was really 2 phases. You had your induction phase, which was the first 2 weeks. This was all about getting deep into ketosis. Now, I don't recall if at the time they specified 20 net grams of carbs as the threshold. And after that first 2 weeks, then you could gradually start introducing some fibrous vegetables, for example, again, keeping your net carbs pretty low. And then eventually, as you reach your desired weight, you start bringing in more carbs to see what your threshold is before you start gaining weight. So Atkins was really about weight loss rather than the overall health benefits of a ketogenic lifestyle. Otherwise, I don't know why you would start adding back in these carbs. And I think that's sort of the case nowadays, as there are these 3 phases. There's Atkins 20, Atkins 40, and then Atkins 100. So you still have your initial 2-week induction phase where you shoot for 20 grams of net carbs or less, but then you're able to bump it up to 40 net grams. And I can only assume then that it's because Atkins isn't really so much about being in keto still as it is about just a weight loss strategy. And when you hit that Atkins 40 phase, that's when they want you to start eating some of their Atkins candy bars and things like that. And then you get to the final phase, which is Atkins 100, which I'm assuming is the maintenance phase. This is your long-term Atkins strategy with 100 net grams of carbs per day. I don't even know what that looks like anymore. I mean, I think I would have to work very hard to want to consume 100 net grams of carbs in a given day. But it strikes me that Rob Lowe's answer isn't that great. I don't think Atkins now or even in the past was keto made easy. I think it's keto for people who are afraid of keto, and as a result it's not really keto. It starts keto and then turns into basically a low carb, buy some Atkins products sort of diet. And as a result, I just don't see a person on Atkins experiencing the same just whole body physical, mental, and emotional benefits of the ketogenic lifestyle. I think Atkins is still a diet. Keto is a lifestyle. And the great thing is, it's become such a far easier lifestyle. There's just so much that we can eat now on keto with some of these alternative flours and some of these other cooking methods. It's just, I never feel deprived. I love keto. I'm sorry, Rob Lowe, I disagree with your answer. Incidentally, Rob Lowe and I share the same birthday, March 17th. And I'm going to talk about that after this brief commercial break. I had debated whether or not to share with all of you that it's my birthday on Tuesday, March 17th. I have spent the last 20 years not looking forward to birthdays. I didn't like people even knowing it was my birthday, because then when I heard someone say happy birthday to me, it just reminded me that I'm older and I'm in worse shape and I'm still fat and I didn't accomplish in the past year what I had hoped to in terms of my health. Those were the thoughts. You know, I think of the line from Time by Pink Floyd, I was shorter of breath and one day closer to death. And this is the first year that I'm excited about my birthday. This is the first year where I truly feel that I am in a better place as a person, physically, emotionally, mentally, than I was last year. If you watch my transformation series, you know that I had first started trying the traditional calories in, calories out, exercise a bunch. That didn't work for me. And then I went to the Penn-Jillette Presto diet, which by the time I got about halfway into that, it was really like vegan keto. So I was kind of starting to do keto, but not quite there yet. The day after my 51st birthday was the day I went all in on keto. So we are now hitting the 1-year anniversary of me being in keto and feeling, honestly, the best I have felt since college. The way my body feels is in such stark contrast to the way that it felt before keto. And I think the overall health feeling is a bigger selling point on keto than the weight loss. Certainly the weight loss is great, but I hadn't realized just how much pain or discomfort I was in. I mean, I was aware a little bit that my knuckles hurt, my elbows and knees hurt, and I knew that anytime I got out of a chair or off the couch or out of bed, I would make a painful grunting noise. But when you're on keto and all of that goes away and you realize one day that it's gone away, that is just, it's such an amazing, amazing feeling. So here I am, 1 year into keto. It's probably the longest I've maintained a weight because it doesn't feel like a diet, it feels like a lifestyle. And besides that milestone, my 52nd birthday, there's also some fun sort of coincidental milestones that we've hit here on Serious Keto. We hit 50,000 total subscribers last week, and in fact, we just hit 52,000. So 52,000, 52nd birthday, kind of a cool little coincidence. We also have hit 2 million total views, so pretty exciting, and I thank all of you for that. Most of all, though, what's been great about Serious Keto, and I've mentioned this periodically, is the community. I don't know how I got so lucky to have so many great people that regularly visit my comment section, leave comments. It's going to sound corny, but it kind of feels like a family, or we're a club or a community, whatever you want to call it. But it has been great. And I am so very grateful to all of you that have been willing to give some portion of your day to just watch me either cook or, in this case, just talk. So it means a ton to me. Thank you. And I hope we continue to grow this channel, grow this community, continue to bring in like-minded people. You may also notice that I added a little tagline for Serious Keto because I want to make sure that as we continue to grow and we get newcomers, that they understand what this channel is all about. The new tagline is Serious Cooking, Sensible Keto. I think that kind of reflects what my goals are with this channel. I want to have fun with cooking. I want to bring fun and interesting recipes, varying in complexity and time. And I want to be sensible about keto, knowing that there are certain things that we're going to crave and that sometimes having a little bit of dirty keto is what keeps us sane and keeps us going strong. So that's the new tagline for the channel. So you can count on me continuing to bring you lots of different cooking videos. There are some interesting things I'm working on. I wish I could tell you about them, but hopefully you'll be seeing them within the upcoming weeks. But that's it for this podcast. Thanks for watching or listening.